Hi, I'm Rhonda. I'm an influencer, life coach. I'm also a licensed psychotherapist. And I want to talk to you today about getting off track. Have you ever had this dream you've been working on and you've put your all into it, you've worked on it and worked on it, and then you realize that you're going in the wrong direction and you need to shift directions first? Oh, this just recently happened to me. And when events like that happen, when I have a preconceived expectation of an outcome, and then something happens, and all of a sudden I am thrown off track. And at first it's like, okay, and trying to wrap my brain around it, and then I tend to get overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed with this whole thing. And my defense mechanism, because of some trauma responses that have been there a long time from my past, I shut down. And so what happens with that is my lizard brain kicks in, shuts off all frontal lobe activity of reasoning and purpose and meaning, and I tend to go down the drain. I can take that stuff all the way to the funeral. It's just, my life's horrible. And then I pick up the little self-pity, and then there's this tsunami of self-pity. And before you know it, I'm just this puddle, this, and then I get in a lot of pain because I just feel like nothing's going to work out. And I'm telling myself those irrational limiting beliefs. And this happened to me this last week. And, I get into like, I'm all alone, and then, and I'm feeling sorry for myself. The depression kicks in. I'm just like wandering around thinking, why am I doing this? And then it's like the fear of the future, that's that taking it to the funeral. Every single time I do that. Anxiety, I get caught up in all of that. But because of personal development, I have the tools to override some of that stuff. And what I've learned today is that I have to parent myself. Sometimes not easy because I sometimes really don't know what's going on. So what I do is once I kind of catch myself going down the drain, circling the drain, I use what I've learned. It's through practice to overcome that, to parent myself. So a tool I use is journaling. Journaling is a really good tool for me, and I do the 3-question journal. I ask myself, what am I feeling? I'm discouraged, and then, the facts are that I have the experience and I have the knowledge, and I can be doing this. It's just in a different direction. And, what's the spirit telling me to do? It's telling me to wash your face, girl, put your makeup on, get around here and do something. Take some action. Because when I take the action, then that fear starts to diminish. The anxiety goes away. The water dries up from that tsunami of self-pity, and things begin to get a little better. And I kind of can get back on track. And it doesn't happen often. When I first started on the road to recovery and personal development, it was my life. And through practice, I began to be able to parent myself out of that. And those times got to where there were fewer between episodes. But I have to do the self-evaluation, ask myself, why am I feeling like this? Is this really facts or are they feelings? And I'm okay to have my feelings, And then I talk to somebody. I bounce that negative thinking off another person. And then I can usually kind of begin to compartmentalize what's going on. And when I do that, then I can begin to see, what is it I need to accept? What am I afraid of? What do I need to accept? Because, man, I would become aware of something, and then I would just go straight to action, and I try to force that stuff. And anything I try to force into manifestation always has ill-got results. You know, it's like taking a square peg, trying to put it in a round hole, and if I just get a bigger hammer, I can make that thing fit. And then I make a big mess. So I have to sit still long enough in my uncomfortableness to accept what's going on. Once I accept it, then it makes choice possible. And with a choice of acceptance, all right, am I going to do this? Am I going to continue to pound this square peg with this bigger hammer? Or am I going to take the action that I don't want to take? Because that's not the outcome that I had planned in my head. Expectations, all they are is resentments waiting to happen. And that acceptance brings me to a point to where I can let go. Let go of the outcome. Let go of what's going on. Trust the process. It's my acceptance, though, tends to have those claw marks all down the side of it. It doesn't do any good for me to try to force something to happen. Do you relate to this? If you're relating, comment below. Stuff you struggle with. We all struggle with stuff in our life. Life is not fair. And I was told that, fair is what happens in October. And if I'm lucky while I'm there, I might get to eat a corny dog. And everyone goes through this stuff. I don't care how long you've been working on yourself. I don't care what, guru. You're going to struggle with some things because it's not what I thought was going to happen or the way that I wanted it to go. I get in that fear, and there's only two fears. Fear I'm not going to get what I want, or the fear that I'm going to lose what I have. And both of those take me straight to that anxiety. And I get that angst. My stomach gets in knots. I get up in my head, the stinking thinking. I call it the shitty committee. They have a meeting in my head, and they come up with some of the crappiest stuff. I learned something this last year about that, because the other shoe is going to drop for me because of that trauma response. But in my magnificent, magnifying mind of fears, I never once ever would have come up with a global pandemic as something that would affect my life as much as that has. I see so many people struggling today with depression and anxiety, and it has changed things about our new normal. What's your normal? Well, normal is sitting on that dishwasher, and what's normal for me is normal for me. And I like getting out and visiting with friends and all of that. It keeps me grounded, but also like my alone time. I like to be home, and there was such a detachment from people, and that it's still, in a sense, it's still fairly detached. This online stuff is blown up because of a global pandemic. And so my new normal is to do those things. I don't have to necessarily, go out and find my group of friends to get over things. It has helped me be a little more grounded in seeking the universe and what's going on with the universe. And so those things are important to me today. The practice. I have to continue to practice personal development, work on myself, and it improves my relationships, it improves my life, and I feel better about myself. And the minute I accept, and I know I have a choice, I move from that point pain, I move into a place coming from power. I feel empowered, and that always kind of sets me free. And then when I take the action, I am even more empowered. So today, I wanted to share this with you. It's just something that I have struggled with, and I hope that this has spoken to you for where you're at. If you like what I have to share, then subscribe to my channel, hit like, leave a comment below. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and I do life coaching. I want to help other people overcome the things in their past that keep them in destructive loops that affect their lives. The one thing I want to leave you with is to remember to be you on purpose.